Alright guys, what's up? I thought we'd try to do something a little bit different. In my past videos I've been critiquing a lot of other people, so I thought maybe it's time I started critiquing myself. So let's get into it. What we're going to do is we're going to watch through one clip. I'm just going to show you one set. We're going to watch it all the way through. And then afterwards, I'm going to be breaking it down, talking about what I did well, what you should be doing. Towards the end of the set, my form starts to break down ever so slightly. You might be guilty of this as well, so I'm going to talk about how we can fix it. 3, 2, 1. Let's break it down bit by bit. One really obvious thing is that you want that bar to be sitting dead center on the rack. It just makes it easier to make sure that the bar sits dead center on your back. So as you can see, this is what I'm doing right now. You want to place the bar at chest level. That was what I did just then. And then I'm grabbing the bar. I'm grabbing the bar just outside of shoulder width. My ring finger on the second ring, on the second bit of knurling on the bar. I'm pulling myself underneath as tightly as I can. So right here, I'm pulling the bar as tightly as I can against my upper back. Basically, you want to create as much tension as possible. A big reason why you might not be generating as much force as possible is because you're not tight. If you're not tight, if you don't have full body tightness in any lift, you're going to be leaking energy. If you don't have full body tightness, then you're just that much more susceptible to your form breaking down. I'm pulling my lats into position now. And if you can see with my elbows here, think about bending the bar over your back and even bringing your elbows behind you together. I don't want to take too many steps out. A big mistake I see people do is that they walk back like 4 or 5 paces. Like, there's no need for that, guys. The more steps you take, the more likely you are to lose that tension that you created, when you were unracking. I'm about to take a deep breath. If your core is soft, if it's moving about, if you don't have that full tension, then you're just not going to be able to generate that power. So as you can see, I'm sorting out my feet there because I'm just trying to get my feet into a better position. So basically, generally what you want to be doing in terms of feet position is that you want your feet to be just outside of shoulder width and your toes to be pointing at 10 and 2. This might vary from person to person. Some people will need their feet a bit wider in order to hit depth. Some people are all right having a narrower stance. You don't want your toes pointing inwards. Generally, for most people, shoulder width apart, toes pointing 10 and 2 o'clock. You may need to experiment with this. You may need to test out different widths, different amount of toe rotation. So right here, I'm just make sure that I'm getting in position properly. I'm not rushing it. And then just before I took a descent, I took a deep breath in, and I'm holding it. I'm pushing my stomach outwards. So I'm putting that bar tightly against me, and I'm making that descent. My knees are staying outwards. I'm pointing my knees outwards. I'm making sure that my knees track over my toes. There are people who say that you shouldn't let your knees go past your toes. That is utter rubbish, guys. In order to hit depth, in order to squat properly, you need your knees to go past your toes. Another thing you want to be remembering is that you want the bar to stay over your mid-foot. That way the bar stays over your center of gravity. That way you're most stable, and therefore you're going to be able to generate as much power as possible. I'm keeping a very neutral back. I'm not rounding forwards. I'm not overextending. I'm only moving at my hips, my knees, and my ankles. Those are the only things. So let's just. So now, as you can see, how my knees sort of come in on the way up. That is a safe amount. Like there's no problem there. What you don't want to happen is for your knees to come within. So you don't want your knees to collapse past your big toe. So if your knees come in a bit, that's fine, but so long as they stay outside your big toe, then there's nothing to worry about. So here, as you can see, I'm rushing the lift a bit, so the bar is sort of slightly wonky. As you can see there, it's slightly wonky. When I'm doing high reps, I did sets of 8 here. I tend to rush things a bit just because they're so tiring. So now you're going to be, so right now, this is when you're going to be seeing my form breaking down ever so slightly. So as you can see here right now, you can see that my right knee, it could be the angle, but I think I did, when I was doing it, I could feel that my right knee is ever so slightly pointing inwards a bit, as you know, whereas my left knee is sort of pointing a bit more to the left. So my form there is asymmetrical, which is not what you want to be doing. You want you to be as symmetrical as possible throughout the lift, at every rep. So yeah, I did it again on the last rep as well. And I think the reason for that was because a few days before, I did some heavy deadlifts and I sort of fatigued the left side of my lower back. So I think it was just sort of compensating. Anyway, one side of me was a bit more fatigued than the other, and therefore I had that slight asymmetrical form there. Basically, you do not want to be doing that. You want to be, you want to be as symmetrical as possible, because over time, if your form is asymmetrical, it's basically just inefficient. If you find that your form is asymmetrical, what I would suggest you do is firstly film yourself, so then you can see exactly how much adjusting you need to do. But 2, just slow down the form, really slow it down. Like do what's called tempo squats. So you're basically cancelling out any sort of momentum. Just a quick recap of how to squat properly. The 2 main things for a proper squat is depth. In my opinion, the default depth for squats should be arse to grass. Number 2, full body tension. You want to be engaging that core, engaging that upper back, pull those lats into place, tense the legs, full body tension. You want to have a neutral spine. Make sure that you're not rounding, you're not hyperextending, and make sure that your knees track over your toes. And if you do all those things, your form will be beautiful. Anyway guys, that's all I wanted to say today. I hope you learned something. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Why have you not subscribed? Follow me on Instagram at ZaneReezaFit. Follow me on Firework at ZaneReezaFit as well. I hope you enjoyed the video today, guys. Keep learning, keep lifting. Share this with your mum, share this with your dad. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!